Hell yes, massive Canales W right here.
They roll coverage.
Yeah, just want to say after getting here this morning and watching the film, I'm just proud of the guys, proud of the style of football that's coming together, and I thought they represented us so well. The guys that were out there battling, to be able to host the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, a coach that I really respect, the culture that they've built, and to be able to see just the physical nature, feeling like this is the standard of playing hard in all phases, running, finishing plays the right way. I just love the way the guys competed yesterday. And yeah, there's a lot we can learn from, a lot that we can clean up. We're going to have some meetings here coming up pretty soon. But I was just fired up just about the mentality and the attitude that continues to show up for us.
Absolutely. And obviously, we're all hoping that the Carolina Panthers are taking a step forward. Today are going to get some of the cuts. We've already seen guys like Jack Plummer, Kobe Bryant, or Kobe Hudson, whatever his name was. So we're already starting to see guys kind of go out. Jack Henderson even got cut. Undrafted free agent. So what can you expect? The rumored wide receiver room has also been solidified, and there's no Hunter Renfrow in that. So that's a very interesting one. Again, a rumor still. But again, I like what he's saying. There's still decisions to be made. Again, I do believe that we're going to go with 10 offensive line on the 53. I'd be very surprised if it was 8. 9 makes more sense, like more logical, just given where we're at. But I still think rolling 10 is the way to go. Obviously, we're going to know here in the next 24 hours or so. It's currently 3:31 p.m. my time. You guys won't get this till later tonight. But the official 53-man roster is not actually due until tomorrow at 4 p.m. So got a little bit of time to actually figure this stuff. Not really sure when Canales is going to make the official announcement of all the cut downs. Probably going to milk the clock at this point, and I can't blame them.
All right, thank you, Coach. With that, we'll open it up to questions. We'll start with Joe, followed by Mike.
Hey, Dave. Good afternoon. Good morning, I guess.
Hey, Joe.
How are you?
Doing great, thanks.
Hey, Schefter reported that the Vikings have called about Adam. Can you confirm that? And is that a trade that you guys would consider making?
Honestly, I'm letting Dan kind of handle all that right now. I'm focused on our team, our football, and Adam's a part of that, so the plans, the plays, all those things is just stuff that we're, focused on right now. And again, we have a lot, to talk about in the next couple of days in terms of the roster and all that. But, that's something that, I'm going to let them handle. And for me right now, it's just focusing on this entire roster and being able to make decisions there.
Absolutely. And you have the easy way out. Hey, man, I'm letting the GM handle it. I do think that Adam makes his way off this team. That was one of my early predictions, was that Adam would get traded. Obviously, going back to the Vikings makes a ton of sense, especially because they're dealing with Jordan Addison being suspended and Jalen Naylor being out. Obviously, he just needs to continue to move forwards, try and develop the roster as best he can. If that obviously Adam is traded before this 53 is actually cut down, that makes it easier for Dave. But this is most likely going to happen afterwards, so we're most likely going to be picking up an undrafted free agent. We're making a trade after Adam is done, unless we're going to get maybe a developmental wide receiver from the Vikings in the Adam trade. I'm not really sure where it's going to end up. I, again, think a 5th round sounds about right, especially because we do need him, so we need to charge a little bit more for him to go out the door. But tell me your thoughts below. I just don't know really where Dan Morgan's going to go with this. Hopefully it's in a way that benefits the team this year rather than punting for next year or something like that.
You've talked a lot about the improved depth at that position. Is it deep enough that you and Dan would consider moving on from Adam?
Could be. I don't know. It's just, until the conversations really get real, there's really nothing to talk about other than for us to just continue to think about where we're going to be at going into the weeks coming.
Okay, so when the conversations become real, so either they haven't really fleshed out into anything that Dave has heard, or they haven't really offered anything of value. They're offering like a 7th rounder. It's like, okay, when you actually want to come to the table and have a conversation, you call me. That's a very interesting response by Dave. Very telling, if I'm going to be honest with you.
When you're considering like the next few weeks and you guys have practices Monday and Tuesday, is there a sense that you want to be kind of not necessarily forthcoming, but you want to kind of be proactive with how you handle these roster moves over the weekend before you guys get on the practice field again?
Yeah, that's just the nature of it, right? I think the good and the bad, we play on a Thursday. There's a bunch of games still that have to be played. And, our goal really is to challenge our roster first internally, and then challenge it against the rest of the NFL and the film that's put out there. So there's a lot of film to still be watched, and it starts with our guys first and foremost, the ones we have the most information on. From the practices, the joint practices, the mock games that we had here, the preseason games. So we have a lot of information, but there's still some more information that's going to come in, down the pipeline this weekend. And so, just, with all the deadlines that come up, we kind of naturally start to make those decisions. And hopefully, sometime Wednesday we'll have, the full set roster to be able to start, planning the pieces going into our game week.
Yeah, absolutely. Take in as much information as you can. To be honest, that was an adage from last year with the whole Bryce Young thing. In fact, here's a clip.
Dave Canales was doing everything in his power to not name Bryce Young the starter for the next week in the post-game press conference every week.
We're going to take in all the information.
It was like, you just won. He played well. Is he the starter next week? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's not get crazy. Let's not get hasty. We're going to watch the film. We're going to take in all the information. We're going to get together, and then we'll make a decision.
I mean, he always wants to take in as much information as he can. That's what Dave Canales does. That's what Pete Carroll taught him. So it's going to be very interesting what this 53 looks like. Again, I could see a scenario where we hold 7 wide receivers. I think that maybe hurts the offensive line depth or another position that we really could use the depth. But hey, if that's where we're going to go with it, that's where we're going to go with it. Most likely 3 tight ends, 3 running backs. So that's pretty much solidified.
And then Taylor Moton signed his contract extension. Or agreed to his contract extension. How important was he to the program that you were building?
It's such a great moment for us. Timo has been, a stud here for a really long time and has continued to show us, the progress, the reliability that we're looking for, the attitude, the character of the guy really, first and foremost, speaks to who he is, and just wanting him to be here, to be a part of what we're building, and knowing that he's an important part of our offense.
Hell yeah, dude. The Taylor Moton extension is exactly what this franchise needed. It also helps the cap space, so thank you, Brant Tillis, as well.
Sorry about that. What's the latest on Princely Umamiela's shoulder?
He's fine. He banged up his shoulder a little bit. They did some testing, some imaging, and he's a little bit sore, but he's going to be fine.
Overall, just a follow-up, as a health standpoint, it seems like your team through training camp came away relatively unscathed compared to what a lot of teams go through from training camp.
Yeah, you give me a chance to just talk about Josh Tinks and Denny Kellington, that team down there that's working together to put a really strong, fit team out there. A performance mindset is the first thing I could say for these guys, is we're looking for guys to be at their best. And they have an aggressive mentality for how they approach things, how they're proactive, checking in with our players individually to see what type of extra mobility, extra care, extra strength training, different things. Some great sessions to regen the guys, throughout different days. And all of us, myself, Dan, Josh and Denny, just getting together and just kind of planning how we dose the team, how we prepare them for game-like situations. But they've done such a great job. And to the players' credit, they're buying in. They're buying into the resources that are available. They're buying into the high speed, intensity, the physical nature of the way we play, knowing we have to take care of our bodies. We have to be proactive with this if we want to practice and play the way that we'd like to.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave Canales, to be honest, has tried to put out the best offense and defense that he has. But obviously injuries play an integral role in actually putting that on the field. Now, if I'm going to be honest with you, I like the transition because I have been very critical of the resources that the players have had. When we get the player scorecards, we never really do well. Regardless of any of that, it always seemed like we always got that weird injury. And I wanted a change somewhere in that medical department, in the training, rehab, whatever it was. Something needed to change. And the fact that we brought in guys that know exactly what to do. I mean, we brought in the guy that revived DeMar Hamlin. So we're obviously bringing in some serious firepower when it comes to that. And I like to see that not only is the team, embracing it, but the team itself, I meant like the organization is embracing it, but the team itself is actually embracing not only the change, but the help. That's something that we need because we want these guys to play for a long time. But more importantly, I want them to play healthy. I don't want these guys to have long-term injuries or anything like that. So shout out to all those players for really wanting to take care of themselves. I want you guys to be able to, stand up and spend time with your families, make families, the whole bit. And that starts with taking care of yourself when you're young and obviously maintaining a good balance of everything. So shout out to you guys and shout out to the team.
Hey, Dave, how's it going?
Hey, Cass.
Kind of building off of that, I think Princely's a good example. How do you kind of help a rookie balance wanting to go hard and like 110% all the time, but also understanding this is a much longer season than a college game, and you've got to be able to protect your body too?
Yeah, we don't pick and choose. When you're on the field, you go. And we ask the guys to trust us. Go for it. Go for it. And if you're gassed, we'll get you out of there. We'll get someone else in. And the minute you're back out there, everything you got. You don't have to pick and choose when to go. I think what we're talking about, Cassidy, is the recovery. That when you do practice like that, when you do play like that in a game, the recovery starts immediately when the game's over, and you start going through your process and you start getting your checks and balances and refueling, in the times that are important, and utilizing the resources that we have down there. We have an owner that supports us completely with the resources that we have at our disposal and the technology we're able to apply, but that also takes a lot of training. And that's where, Denny has really, challenged his group to get training in the different resources that we have to apply it really specifically. And so it's all those things, and it's the trust of the players to know when you go in there, you're getting the best care. And that's what's happening here. So I'm really excited about that.
Hell yeah. I don't normally give the organization a whole lot of, I guess, positivity. I'm really kind of in a weird place when it comes to the owner. But shout out to all those people that are on the ground every day that are making it better for not only the Carolina Panthers, but the staff and, to be honest, even us fans, even the guys that don't go to the stadium on the regular, you're still making a better product for us. So shout out to all of you.
And then these next few days can be a stressful time for some of these bubble guys. I know you talked about like what it's going to look like for coaches. What do you suggest to the players? Do you check in with them over these next couple of days, or do you say like we'll talk on Tuesday? Like what do you kind of offer them advice on how to get through this?
Well, I think first and foremost, we have this day where we get to evaluate the film. So we're all back in the building, and we'll have to make those decisions, at the beginning of next week. But today is a chance to get better, to look at the film, to take coaching, to improve. All these things are so critical for all the players who were able to play last night. So we'll start there. And then beyond that, it's just the challenge to chase your dream, the challenge to never give up. Never say never, and to continue to work. And while we know we can't have everybody do that here with us, our goal as a staff is to help these guys to have a football life in one way, shape, or form. And I hope that the players feel that they got the care, they got the coaching, they were challenged, they were encouraged, they were held accountable for different things, to be able to help them in the future.
Hell yes, massive Canales W right here. Shout out, Dave. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. That is exactly what I wanted to hear from my head coach, getting ready to move into this week one.
Hey, Dave, David here. With Hunter Renfrow, you guys were so complimentary about him for early camp especially, and even later, about his route running, his ability to get open and everything. Did he drop off at all after the hamstring? What did you see after that?
Yeah, he just kept battling every day. He did a great job representing himself and what he could potentially bring to this team. He certainly gave himself a chance to be in that conversation.
Oh, I mean, that all sounds like platitudes. It all sounds like, man, he really worked through it. He really did this. He really did that. I mean, that might be the writing on the wall. And the last time we hear from Hunter Renfrow on this 53 man. So if that's the case, I know somebody whose name is Little Rocket. It's going to be real mad about this.
And is his style or what he does, just say hypothetically you guys moved on from Adam, is he a guy that would fit that similar type role?
Could be. Traditionally that's kind of some of the things he's done.
Oh, so there's a scenario where we let him go to free agency. People don't pick him up. And then we wait, trade Adam, and then pick him up off the basically waiver wire, Okay. I guess that's fine. I just don't want him taking a spot from Jalen Coker. I don't want him taking a spot from a guy like Jimmy Horn. After that, I really don't care.
All right, we will go to Steve, followed by Alex.
Hey Dave, sorry this is a little bit off topic. One of our other AP writers is writing a story on teams that have brought in, veteran coaches to help out, the head coach. And of course, you guys did that with Jim and Dom last year. I just wonder if you, why did you do that, and how much has that helped now? With you being in your second year, having those two guys at your disposal.
I think it's invaluable. Just all the lessons, the different situations that as a head coach I can't always anticipate, and certainly haven't experienced, and to be able to walk down the hall and talk to Dom, to be able to talk to Coach Caldwell, who's watching everything, sends me weekly emails with kind of a synopsis of areas of improvement. He thinks like that big picture and says, hey, I think we can push them in this area. This would be something to consider to get that type of improvement that you want to in this other area. And just having like the specific suggestions, that come up along the way, it really is invaluable. When I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, this, it could be on the field, it could be off the field also, when things come up, with our players or with our staff, and there's different situations, and I can go down and ask and say, hey, did you ever experience something like this? How did you handle it? And be able to take all that information and try to make the best decision possible. They're really important for us. And that's big picture wise, but schematically also, Coach Capers has always said, I want to make sure that we get the best 11 guys out there. And so there's versatility in how he was able to attack with Coach Caldwell, just the different styles of players and how to get the most out of your wide receivers, your tight ends, your running backs, and different things like that. So just a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience that I feel covered by.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, this is something that I've prefaced since I did my original 9-part mini-series on Dave Canales. The addition of the coaches, more experienced coaches, have assisted him. He also came from, again, one of the oldest coaches, but one of the most prolific as well. I mean, regardless of what you want to say, Pete Carroll did really well on the college level and then took it to the NFL and continued to do it, and now he's back coaching the Las Vegas Raiders. So all of that knowledge has continued to soak into guys like this. So yeah, why not have them out there? Why not have them teaching a guy like this? It makes sense. And especially because we're seeing it pay dividends. Hey, keep them on the roster. Let's keep it going. Let's keep that knowledge sponge out there, a.k.a. Dave Canales.
James Mitchell obviously caught a touchdown pass yesterday. I know you're about to put together the pieces to this puzzle, but with Tommy coming back, how does James Mitchell fit into this tight end room, do you think?
Another guy who just did a great job representing himself and showing us that he's somebody we can count on. So I'm really excited that James did that, and showed up, not just in the pass game with a couple of flashes, but the run game as well. Just a really well-rounded player who's got some experience, and he came from Detroit, where there's some similar systems, similar run game, and different things like that. So he did a great job representing himself. He gave him a great shot for us to have him in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. But to be honest, the only way that happens is if Tremble goes out. If Tremble goes back out after coming back from the back injury, oh my God, that's a lot of backs. Regardless, that would be a way to bring him in, because I truly believe that the blocking assistance comes from the guy that we drafted, Mitchell Evans, especially after you talk about Tremble. Jatavian Sanders is more of a receiving tight end. So for the Canales system to work, he needs those blocking tight ends. So if we need another one in a situation where Evans is gone, Tommy Tremble is gone, I'm sorry. Then yes, I could see another guy like him coming in there.
And just to follow up on that, it's a pretty young tight end room. He ends up being one of the older guys. Does that, I don't know, increase his value at all?
That helps. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. We'll wrap up quickly with Mike, Joe, and Vashti.
Hey, Dave, one more for me.
Yeah.
Last night, Hunter Renfrow was talking, and he said, I think his optimism is something that a lot of people envy. He speaks life into people, and that was about you. When you hear that, what does that say to you about the culture that you're building on this team and where the program is right now?
I think it's just this, the heart and soul of it is possibilities. How good can you become? How good can we become? And I hope that that's infectious for all of us, for the staff, whether it's in football meetings, whether it's in the training room, the weight room, really all across the organization and the places that I'm able to encourage, like, let's never operate out of a spirit of fear, but let's operate out of a spirit of possibilities. Because I truly believe you can achieve your best. There's no guarantees for outcomes. There's no guarantees for numbers of wins. There's no guarantees for numbers of losses and all those things. It's just, what does that matter? But if we're all running this race to achieve our best, to find our best on a daily basis, then we're pushing each other, because everyone's getting after it. Everyone's trying to utilize every resource at their disposal to help their game grow, whether it's our coaching staff or the players as well. And that's what we want to see come alive in the building, in the meetings. That's what we want to see come alive on the practice field as well. Are we working on our game, and are we working on our team and our relationships, so that we can find out how good can we become? And that's out there for us, And so hopefully, Hunter's feeling that part of it, and hopefully feels that coming from his group as well, the wide receiver room, for guys who are competing with each other and against each other in ways, but it shouldn't be about that. It should be, your competition is to find your best on a daily basis.
Absolutely. The competition against oneself is absolutely a self-motivator for many. Obviously, we've heard from even our quarterback, outside factors don't motivate me, it's me that motivates me. So I like to hear that. And of course, Dave Canales is the, the optimist bully, according to Baker Mayfield. So with that in mind, it makes sense that a guy like Hunter Renfrow is like, man, Canales is so positive and everything like that.
Canales, obviously, he gets that head coach job in Carolina. I know he's a division rival, but what are the Panthers getting in him as a head coach?
He's an unbelievable guy. Somebody that is truly authentic and optimistic about everything. That it brings a different aspect of football that it's rare. It's the first guy I've ever been around that shows up with the same positive attitude every single day, and it doesn't waver at all. And so they're going to get a guy that's his infectious personality. It's going to go throughout that building.
I mean, even a guy like Baker Mayfield is like, dude, this dude can't stop smiling. And that is very telling of not only Canales, but his overall philosophy of trying to overcome oneself rather than trying to fix the outside factors, which everybody knows is a futile effort.
Dave, two quick ones. Do you feel pretty confident that whether it's Fitzgerald or Matthew, that one of those guys will be your kicker, or would you all consider someone outside?
I feel very confident in both guys, but I also know there's good kickers out there. And again, just like every other position, I think we start with the information we have, and then we got to look at the whole thing, just like we're going to do with every other position. We've got to look at who's all out there and how do they stack up in terms of accuracy with the kicking game, field goals and PATs, and then also what guys can bring to us in the kickoff setting and all that. So that's, again, going to be a part of these conversations coming up.
And then any Nick Scorton updates?
Nick's doing great. Every day stronger. I didn't get the full update in terms of just like, is he 100% or is he 95%, but it's up in that area. He's been running, and the next thing now is to just get him back into some contact to see how he responds there, but he feels great. Asking him, he feels like he's back to normal, but I know that there's a lot that goes into this, more than meets the eye, so we have to continue to evaluate that, but I feel strongly Nick's going to be okay, be ready to go for next week for practice.
Okay, I did see some reports that were originally stating that Nick Scorton might be out with that collapsed lung into week 1, so missing that week. That's great that he's back at practice. If not, I'm fine with him missing week 1 as long as we get a guarantee he's coming back week 2. If we start talking about week 3, then obviously we know there's a little bit more than just a collapsed lung. Again, praying for him. Hopefully he's safe. And obviously I can't wait to see him back out on the field because the dude is a demon.
Hi, Dave. I was just curious, what were some of the things that flashed to you on tape from yesterday's game when you were watching?
Yeah, I think it was the physical nature. Guys making plays, Kobe Windman running down, making some nice tackles. Isaac Gifford had a really nice tackle on a kickoff. We got more progress out of our gunner reps. I think, Bam Martin Scott, he flashed on special teams as well. I thought a couple of the guys that, again, like we talked about, especially with the rookies, every week there's these huge leaps, these huge gains, and Cam Jackson, to see him playing fast and big like he is, looking more comfortable in the schemes and what we're doing. Offensively, watching Trevor just continue to find space, break a tackle, make a play. We already knew about Raheem Blackshear, but I just loved having him out there and gave us some versatility and stuff that we could do. I think just off the top, I think I was just really impressed with guys capturing the style of play that we're looking for. And Coach Tomlin mentioned it afterwards too. He was like, I respect what you guys are doing here, which means a lot to me. These are guys that I look up to, and I know I'm competing against these coaches, but I admire them. I'm a student of the game. I look for the style of play, and that's what we want to build here is that tough physical style of football. And so for our guys to be able to do that one more time was really cool.
Hey, so shout out to Dave Canales for even sitting up there and giving this press conference, especially because the 53-man roster hasn't been solidified yet. Obviously, there's some names in there that we think are going to be gone. We already know that guys like Jack Plummer, and God, there's somebody else that just got released. If so, Gifford, it was Jack Henderson. I'm sorry. So yeah, we've already seen some of the names. Now we get to see the final few. This one will come out 2 nights. This way you guys will have it for the, or actually no, it'll be out tomorrow. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys just with a quick question. Who's the one person that needs to make this roster? And I mean someone that's realistic. Don't give me, some deep wide receiver. Don't give me some guy that hasn't even been on the field. Don't even give me a kicker, because I think that kicker decision has been made. I hope it's Ryan Fitzgerald. But regardless, I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Peace. I really appreciate you making it this far. It helps out the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. Hopefully, one of these other videos are ones that you like as well, but if not, I can't wait to catch you in the next one. My name is Nick, and this has been Roll Coverage.